folks, and welcome back to Four Corners of the Galley. I'm your host, P. Bo, and you're joining me on our movie reviews. And out this weekend, after a long and tumultuous 14-year absence, The Incredibles comes back to the theaters, and we get Incredibles 2. And here is my recap review of Incredibles 2. So, Incredibles 2, directed and written by Brad Bird, starring Craig T. Nelson, Holly Hunter, and Samuel L. Jackson, is probably one of the best ever sequels done on an animated movie ever. I absolutely love this movie. I thought it was amazing second addition to the original Incredibles. I love the way it starts right back in the beginning, and it starts right at the fight. I also love the little homages it pays. So, Incredibles came out, 14 years ago, 2004. At the same time, they came out with a little short called Jack Jack Attack, where it kind of shows you all the different powers that Jack Jack has. In that Jack Jack Attack, they do an interview with the young lady, the babysitter, who watches Jack Jack while everybody's gone. And when they do the interview, they have the gentleman from the government agency, and he's sitting there interviewing and asking her about all the different events that happens. At the end, he ends up using this Men in Black style machine that, sticks a thing at her and ends up erasing her mind. So the beauty of Incredibles 2 is it starts off basically in that same interview room, and this time we get the wannabe boyfriend of Violet, or the guy she wants to go on a date with, and he's recanting his story on the events that happened at the track meet and afterward with the Underminer, and just talk about a great symmetry in the way it works. I just love it. I love how they showed us this battle, and then eventually they end up I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not going to spoil what happens, but things don't go the way they're supposed to go, and it ends up causing a bigger issue. So the whole point of this movie is there's an individual who wants to make superheroes relevant again. And basically, he doesn't want this law that's in effect that doesn't allow superheroes to help anyone. He wants to bring back superheroes and bring back a cuddlier image. So he recruits the help of Mr. Incredible, Elastigirl, and Frozone to basically talk to him about how he wants to revive the superheroes and put their image, a better image out to the public, and that public will accept superheroes again. And he feels the best way to go about this is to make Elastigirl the #1 superhero. And Mr. Incredible obviously cannot handle this because he's like Superman and he doesn't understand why they're not choosing him. And they basically, like the way they would do anything nowadays, they show him data, just scientific data that proves that he is extremely reckless and causes all kinds of injuries and damage and stuff, where Elastigirl solves crimes and does things with very minimal damage and very minimal life loss. And because of that, it's a better way to come about it. He also has this great idea where he feels like the only thing you see is the aftermath of the police's afterwards showing all the bad things. He puts a camera on them to show the pursuits and things that happens to give a better image of what they have to go through. So this whole movie is about basically mom going to the workforce and going to join it, and dad having to now stay home and take care of the kids and deal with the whole everyday life of dealing with like Mr. Mom. It's got this great Mr. Mom to it. And this thing is packed full of just real life family things that happen. I mean, just amazing stuff. So mom's off being a superhero and she's doing amazing work and she's on television and doing interviews and just looking amazing, and Bob's at home dealing with a teenage girl who some things happen and she just is off the rocker at this point. He's got a young son who's got to learn math now and he's got a baby that he just discovered has some powers that he didn't realize that the baby had. And it is this great just family discussion and just dealing with life overall and how you deal with teenagers and toddlers to kids to mom feeling bad and feel like she's neglecting her family to almost coming home, but then Mr. Incredible being the better overall person and saying that, look, you need to do good for us so that I can go out and be a superhero also. The movie is stock full loaded of jokes and humor and just great stuff. The big two MVPs for me in this whole entire thing is they push Jack Jack up to the front and center, and I think it is an awesome job what they would do with Jack Jack. Because in the first one, he doesn't have powers and he's the baby. Well, they give him powers at the end of this, and he becomes just a superstar. The minute this kid steps on stage and the minute you get anything with them, everything about him is just absolutely amazing. I mean, it's just a great Jack stuff. And the other one I love is Violet. I think she does a really good job with the way she plays the role off and as the teenage girl and dealing with all the emotions that goes with it. I mean, just absolutely fantastic, especially the fact that her mom has left her and now she has to deal with all of her brothers because she's dealing with her dad and her two brothers, so it's just her now. And it's just a great family dynamic. It is also the best representation of the Fantastic Four put on screen. It doesn't, all the powers are all mixed up, but this is what a true Fantastic Four comic book looks like. It's about family and dealing with the family dynamics, at the same time trying to be superheroes and deal with the real villains out there, but also dealing with the actual issues that matter to them most, and that's the whole family dynamic, the whole living situation, things of that nature. It is just a big, huge dynamic that goes on in this movie, and it is great, and that is one of the best things to me. They have not gotten right Fantastic Four, and I think it also helps to make it animated, because when you're trying to do the stretch stuff like Elastigirl, it looks amazing. The other great thing about this movie is the huge difference in animation from 2004 to 2018 is just light years away. I mean, this movie is so prestige and so beautiful, it's ridiculous compared to the old one. In the old one, I will admit, there are different scenes where there is just no animation or it looks like a single drawing. I mean, it's kind of poorly done. This one, oh my god, it makes up for everything. I feel like I can see the little snow cubes that Frozone makes at different points. It's so prestige. So, it definitely has, a big twist villain. I'm not going to ruin any of that. I feel like the weakest part to me was this villain. Now, there's a couple reasons behind that. Incredibles 1 had probably one of the best villains ever created in a comic book in Syndrome. Syndrome is a fan who wanted to be a sidekick to Mr. Incredible named Buddy, who had no powers but was extremely smart and made all this technology. Was pissed that Mr. Incredible wasn't being a part of it, so he took out his vendetta against all superheroes and used his technology to start wiping them out systematically one by one. I mean, I don't know how you get any better than that, and that's the problem. This villain doesn't live up to the abilities and the same what Syndrome gets you, but it doesn't matter because the villain's more secondary in this story, and the bigger part of this story is the family and dealing with the family element, and it is done just beautifully right. Frozone comes in when he needs to come in. Edna comes in when she needs to come in, and is absolutely hilarious every single time she steps on screen. It is just a beautiful animated movie that everyone needs to go to the theaters and check out, because it definitely really embarks on the family and the family elements and the togetherness and how it takes everybody together to make it all work, and it's just beautifully done. If I was going to score this, I would give this a 4 out of 5, a 9 out of 10. I thought this movie was great. Do I feel like it's better than the original? I don't know. I'd have to see this one a couple more times. I feel like the original is just a perfectly neat, tied-in story. But what I do love about this one is it brings elements back from the original and things that you saw in the original, and it pulls them back into this one. There's a few surprises in there I don't want to ruin because they're hilarious as heck. There's so much that goes on in this and so much fun that from start to finish, it is a great movie. So, go check it out, folks. Incredibles 2 in theaters now. Check it out. I promise you, you're going to walk out of there laughing and having a great time. Hey, this is my favorite, and I love Incredibles still. All right, guys. So there you go. I have nothing else to say. All right. So until next time, folks. Good night, Ted.